Welcome back to our ultimate Scottish summer road trip. Scotland, ranked among the top 5 travelled destinations in the world and welcoming millions of visitors every year. In August 2025, we decided to experience the magic ourselves. Over 3 unforgettable weeks, 2,500 miles and countless adventures, we'll take you across the length and breadth of Scotland, from epic coastlines and big sky landscapes to historic castles, lochs, waterfalls and movie-famous mountain viaducts. Scotland is overflowing with stories, and this is ours. Here's a quick sneak peek at what you can expect on day 4. First stop after a short drive is Halies Castle. Then it's on to the Falkirk Kelpies. This was a kid's favourite. Drive through the town of Stirling and then on to Scone Palace, where we spent the majority of the afternoon exploring this seat of Scottish royalty before heading on to Cairngorms Mountains and the snow roads. But I finally got a chance to get the drone out before heading down the hills to beautiful sunsets. And then we finished the day parked up in the parking lot just outside Balmoral Castle. So far on our adventure, we left Dublin, travelled north through Northern Ireland to the port town of Larne, where we caught a ferry across to explore the southernmost point of Scotland, the Mull of Galloway. On day number 2, we travel east across the Scottish borders to the English town of Berwick-upon-Tweed for an overnight stop before heading on to Edinburgh to pick up our camper van on day number 3. And that's where you join us today on part number 3.
Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Good morning from day number 4. Up early, but not early enough to see the sunrise, but enough to get a bit of time lapse as we prepare and head out on the road, back onto the motorway, heading north for what would be quite a good day. Glorious sunshine, but unfortunately still very windy, so doubtful I would get my drone in the air. Being a little sub 250 drone, it's very temperamental in the wind, but holding thumbs for that as we head out on the road, enjoying these fantastic motorways as we head towards Edinburgh, sweeping along the coastline. Our first stop for the day would be just short of Edinburgh.
And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
This morning we're coming here to Halies Castle. Let's go take a quick look. Welcome to Halies Castle. Nice and green, nice and early and fresh this morning. It's just after 7:30. We're up and driving before 7. Definitely a very narrow road to get here, so motorhome is going to be challenging, but it's quiet enough. Early in the morning. It's looking quite impressive from the side that we can see. It seems a lot of monuments are in condition of preservation and maintenance these days. More than not, all the ones we wanted to see. I think that's going to be about as much as we're going to get. But a lovely area. Let's get a close-up of some of that rock. Weathered over the ages. Yep, let's head back. Lovely green lawn. Nice bench if you want to come sit and just contemplate. People lucky enough to be living close by. There's some stunning views. Stop number 1. There's our van sitting over there. Not too far to walk. Thank you, Halies Castle. Yeah, just an example of the very narrow road. Now we'll zoom around the van. And soon after that, we're back on the road. We would skirt around Edinburgh, knowing the big cities are not so good for camper vans. And we'd be back after our camper van trip to spend some days exploring. Off the main road onto the side roads, we start to head towards our stop number 2. And while we're getting closer, one thing I think we definitely missed on this trip, on this day, was to actually go and look at the Falkirk wheel. Quite an engineering marvel, but we were basically doing it for the kids, so onwards to the Kelpies. Definitely their favourite attraction of the trips so far. And you only pay parking fee with the motorhome. It was £10 entry. You can stay overnight with the motorhome as well for £15, but we were moving on. So the Kelpies, located in Helix Park, Falkirk, Scotland, was open to the public in 2014, and the 2 colossal 30-metre tall horse head sculptures were inspired by Scottish mythology and designed by Scottish sculptor Andy Scott. The symbolism represents the power and endurance of Scotland's working horses, especially the Clydesdales that pulled canal barges. Each Kelpie weighs around 300 tons, and they are the world's largest equine sculptures. And yes, there are guided tours you can take inside one of the sculptures. They are also dramatically lit at night, making them a major photography hotspot. And there was this nice family of swans that the kids really liked to see around that were pretty tame. As we ran across bridges, took some photos, and just really enjoyed our time there. I'm coming, Bailey. And you can hear from the footage the wind was still gusting, so no chance to fly the drone, but the thing I found the most interesting is the Helix actually encourages drone flying as long as it is safe and according to the laws. And just a bit of a foreshadow, on our way back from the holiday, I was able to come back to the Kelpies and actually get the drone in the air. So look forward to that later in the season. The kids were thrilled with their little magnets as a souvenir memento from the scene. All in all, we give this a good 9 out of 10. Bailey, say goodbye to the horses.
Bye, big horses. Bye, big horses. Bye, big horses.
Off we go. Driving north from Falkirk, we couldn't resist the temptation to swing through Stirling city centre. So yes, we took the motorhome straight into the heart of the traffic, and we slowly crawled our way up those narrow, winding roads towards the castle, right on top of the hill. But honestly, it was way too busy. Traffic was backed up, parking was non-existent. And coming down the far side of the hill, we very nearly got ourselves properly stuck. So here's my advice. Stirling is definitely a park and walk city, great for cars that are smaller, in quiet seasons, or travellers without kids and a massive motorhome in tow. For us, it just wasn't going to happen this time. So we rolled on. passing the spectacular Wallace Monument along the way, and promised ourselves we'd come back for a proper city break. In the future, just us, maybe public transport and our feet, and once the kids are a little bit older and more manageable. On to our next main stop for the afternoon, and it's one of Scotland's most historic and surprisingly family-friendly places, Scone Palace. Scone Palace is one of the most important royal sites in Scottish history. For centuries, it was the ceremonial crowning place of Scotland's kings, who were inaugurated upon the Stone of Destiny, a sacred symbol of Scottish sovereignty. The abbey that once stood here was a powerful political and religious centre, and the palace grounds were effectively the birthplace of Scottish nation's monarchy. Even today, the site remains its symbolic status, with the Stone of Destiny returned to Scotland and displayed in Edinburgh, but always historically connected to Scone. We came here expecting history, but honestly, the gardens alone were worth the visit. The kids had already claimed the entire front lawn as their personal racetrack, and there were peacocks everywhere. The kids are convinced they're guarding some hidden treasure. They're gonna dig and try and find them. Scone Palace may have been the ancient crowning place of Scottish kings, but for us, today, it's also just a massive outdoor playground. We might not have had enough time to explore the inside of the castle and learn all the history, but beyond the gardens, beyond the peacocks, we found that something legendary remained. Because here at Scone Palace, you'll find something every kid dreams of. A magical sword in the stone.
I can't do it. This is down.
Try and pull it out.
I can't. It's stuck in the stone.
Is it too hard to pull out? Bentley, can you try pull out the sword?
Okay, my turn. Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Keep pulling out the sword.
You tried.
Over here.
After all that exertion, it was time for an ice cream and a sit down on the beautiful lawn. Time for us to have a coffee too, before we carried on exploring. Scone Palace is one of those rare places packed with deep Scottish history, but also perfect for families. There are beautiful paths, loads of space, and enough little adventures to keep everyone happy. So if you're travelling through Scotland, this place is absolutely worth the stop. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one that can pull out the sword from the stone. We give this stop on our trip a solid 8 out of 10. Only downside was we had to keep moving. We could really have spent the whole day or two here and then some more. We didn't expect to get to explore the inside of the palace or the garden mazes, so keep an eye out for that next time you're here. As we left Scone and headed north, the landscape began to open up in front of us. At first, the roads were gentle and flat, rolling fields and soft hills stretching out on either side. There was that calm, peaceful feeling you only get in this part of Scotland. But the further we drove, the more the scenery started to shift. The roads began to get narrower, they began to rise, the bends started to tighten ever so slightly, and those distant hills slowly grew into proper mountains. Before long, we were climbing steadily into the snow roads, surrounded by rugged terrain that felt wilder with every mile. The air seemed to change, crisper, cooler, as the landscape lifted around us. When a small pull-off finally appeared with a perfect bit of open space, I couldn't resist. I sent the drone up for a quick flight, just long enough to capture these sweeping views of the mountains from above. The snow roads stretch out like a ribbon through the highlands, with peaks rolling away into the distance. It was one of those moments with the drone footage does what eyes can't see, showing off just how vast and untouched this region really is. Back on the road, we continue to climb towards the top of Glenshee. The ski centre appeared like a little outpost tucked into the mountains. What an epic evening. And crossing it felt like stepping over the boundary. One side rugged and dramatic, the other dropping away into soft curves and shadowed valleys. From there, the drive was down, fast, smooth, and incredibly scenic, as if the landscape was gently pushing us onward. And with the daylight starting to fade, we made our way to our overnight stop at Balmoral. Nestled right beside the estate grounds, the parking area was quiet, calm, and the perfect place to end the day of changing landscapes and shifting skies. Here's a sneak peek from day number 5. Things get really royal as we explore Balmoral. The flag means the royal is home, but can we find them? The views are fantastic, the grounds are perfect, and there's always a puddle or two to jump in. We run through the forest and find some adventures for the kids that we didn't expect. The squirrel trail was really an adventure for them. After lots of walks and different perspectives, just looking at this fantastic estate, we finally saw our first Highland coup, before heading back on the road to explore some of the scenic upper regions of the snow roads, and we finally make it to Loch Ness for the evening.
Thanks for watching Discussions with David.
Every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray